Well, now, when it comes to the world of finance and making money, you need to be a little bit smart. Let me tell you one secret, okay? You can actually become a landlord with as low as 500,000 Kenyan shillings. And by the way, for those who are watching from international countries, like, hey, Joseph, how much is that in terms of dollars? That's like 5,000 USD. And by the way, guess what? This investment you can start with as low as 5,000. That's like $50 or something of sort, and you actually start becoming ownership, or in terms of what we call the real estate. All right, so watch this video to the end for you to understand exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna take you step by step. By the way, this is that video that I'm not gonna hurry it. I'm gonna go step by step for you to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, now here we are. See, there are two ways of actually you can approach a real estate. Obviously, there is where you can actually have millions of money, buy a piece of land, and actually be able to build those houses and become a landlord, okay, or a landlady for that matter. Okay, for that one we say is the primary way. Okay, and now we have what we call the secondary way. The secondary way is when we use a route called REITs, and in short, today I'm going to talk about REITs and how exactly you can be able to invest your cash and become a landlord or a landlady with such amount of money as said on this title of this video. And by the way, guess what, guys? If you're watching me for the first time, my name is Joseph. Talk about investment, anything related to cash, and I do upload a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss a video, make sure that you hit that subscription button. Okay, fine. You don't know what is to subscribe? Subscribe is below there is a small button in black written subscribe. Hit that magical button, like the video, and also make sure that you comment on the comment section. Let's get to the business now. Here you are. Your budget is 500K, or let's just call it 5,000 USD. This is the amount of money that you have. So you have that inspiration of becoming a landlord. Okay. Now, the way it functions in a very, very systematic way. Now, this is how it works. There is an established company that involves itself in building these structures. You know, it can be commercial rental properties, it can be commercial, whatever. It builds things to do with real estate. And these companies, first of all, in Kenya, consider checking out in your country. In Kenya, these companies must be regulated by a body called CMA. That is Capital Market Authority of Kenya. So I am not talking about a company that is just anywhere, anyhow. No, it is a company that is regulated by Capital Market Authority of Kenya. All right. Now, this company, what happens? It earmarks building a certain infrastructure or structure. For example, let's say they want to build a certain building like this one, for example, and let's say this building, maybe say it costs something like let's say like 100 million Kenyan shilling. So let's say that building will cost 100 million Kenyan shilling. So what these companies does for it to be able to realize this amount of money, they go ahead and be able to divide this unit into smaller units. I don't want to lose you. Let's say this company want to build this structure, and this structure will cost 100 million Kenyan shillings. So what they do, they subdivide this amount of money into smaller fragments or units. For example, they can take this 100 million, all right, and divide it into, say, into smaller units of a million, all right, into smaller units of a million. That makes that they'll get 100 units, for example. So they have 100 units. Now, these units are called shares. You get what I'm saying? Now, these are the shares. So in simple terms, I'm saying one share, if you want to invest in this specific structure, let's say maybe they want to build hostels, maybe they want to build some commercial properties, let's say maybe they want to build some rental property somewhere in Kilimani, Kileleshu, or something of sort. So they divide this unit into smaller units, like 100 divided by a million, they get it's 100 units, meaning the cost of one unit, or if you want to become one of the owner of this building, you need 100, or rather you need one share of this structure cost that 100 shillings. Now, this is how they do it. Now, they float. To float, it means that they say, hey, you know what, guys, anyone who has the potential, they can come invest with us. So what they do, they pull resources from different people like you, me, and different people out there. So they come on board, right? So they come on board, they contribute to the realization of this amount of money, obviously at a different potentials. For example, you may have somebody, let's say you are there, you can come with your 500,000, you can come with your 500,000, right, and get your what? If you are to divide that by 100, let's see how many units you'll be able to buy. So you're going to buy 5,000 units. You're going to buy 5,000 units. In other words, you have 5,000 what? Shares of that given unit. All right, and guess what happens now? Since now you own or you participate into the realization of building of this structure, you now by virtually become a what? A landlord. So now what happens? Another person comes in, puts a million bob, another puts I said a minimum you can put it, a minimum you can put a 5,000 with them. So if it costs 100 per share, then it means you have 50 units. You have what? You have 50 units, or you have what? You have 50 shares in that given company. Now, this is what happens. This is what makes it a bit interesting when it comes to the rates. According to the rules and regulation offered by the Capital Market of Kenya, Authority of Kenya, they are supposed to share 80% of the profit they make. I have to repeat this. You know what? For example, if you go buy shares of given companies in Nairobi Securities Exchange, or whichever the security exchange you're watching me from, the rules, these guys can even pay 20% of the profit they make. They can even pay nothing. For example, in Kenya, I don't want to mention the company. Like there was a company, like they didn't pay shares, or rather they didn't pay the dividends this year because of some few things here and there. It's quite of a big company in Kenya. For those who watch these talks quite a long time, they know what I'm talking about. So anyway, but it's in public there. If you can mention it, there is no problem. They're in public and they justified themselves. So the point is, according to the rules and regulation of REITs, that is the Real Estate Investment Trust, they are supposed to share 80% of the profit. What does it mean? If let's say maybe that structure, let's say it's a hostel, that hostel maybe it has like 100 people, or maybe let's say 100 people. So 100 people, and maybe they are renting that unit for, let's say for example, something like 10,000. Okay, 10,000. So if you multiply 10,000 by 100 people, then it'll give you how many? That will give you 1,000,000 bob. If it gives you 1,000,000 bob, 1,000,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, this is what happens. Now, this amount of money, it's the profit that they have made. That's the profit. Then it means by rule, they're supposed to pay 80% of it to the shareholders. Now, this is what happens. So 80% of 1,000,000 shillings, therefore it means that they have to pay 800,000 Kenyan shilling as the profit. They remain with 200,000 Kenyan shillings for the purposes of development. I mean, you can't eat all your profit, right? That's very true. Maybe they need some renovations or something of sort, but this is what they have collected as the rent, and this is what actually they're supposed to share out as a dividend according to the rules and the regulations. And the sweet part of it is this. So they collect this money. Let's say this is month 1. This is month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6. So they are supposed to pay this dividend. They usually pay this dividend semi-annually. They pay this dividend semi-annually, meaning after 6 months. Let's say now here you are with your 500K, and we divided that by 100. We realize that you have 5,000. So 5,000, it will be now, how much do you know? Now, okay, say, if now this is how you calculate how much you'll be able to earn. If the whole number of shares we have is 1,000,000. We have 1,000,000 shares. If we say if 1,000,000 shares equivalent to 100%. So how about 5,000? How about 5,000? You cross multiply so that you can be able to know the percentage of that company that you own. So it is 5,000 multiplied by 100 divided by 1,000,000. For those who hate mathematics, this sounds like more of a mathematics. Anyway, 1, 2. So we are doing the mathematics here for us to realize how much we are supposed to own by that. So therefore, it means you own what percentage of that given of that given percentage. So you're supposed to own a certain fraction. Let's say maybe that figure goes about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So remain by 10. So 5 divided by 10, that's like half by 1 by 2. So meaning you have 0.1%. So you own 0.5% of that given company. Now, guess what happens now? Now it will be 0.5% multiplied by 100,000. You get what I'm saying? Now it will be, what is 0.5% of 800K? You can do the mathematics. You know how much you're gonna be getting per month. Now that's what you get per month. You multiply that by 6, assuming everything remains constant. Then after the 6 months, they send you the entire amount of money that you get there as your interest. It is very simple. That's how you calculate. So that's why I always tell people, you don't have to strain yourself. Maybe say that's the only money that you have. You're looking forward into owning properties. And let me tell you one thing, guys. I know there is this traditional way of viewing of how to invest in real estate. Sometimes it's good when you move with what we call the technology. You move with the development. 21st century things are being done like this. So move with that so that at least you don't get left behind. So that is exactly how it functions. Now you earn actually in 2 ways. Now this is what happens again. Let's say now we have realized now you own a half of 0.5% of 800,000. Let's say this amount of money maybe adds up to like let's talk of maybe let's say 5,000 for example, or let's say let's call it 5,000. Okay, you can do the mathematics to actually realize how much you're gonna earn. So maybe let's say you have to receive this money after 6 months, so it becomes 30K. So you have to receive your money after that period of time. You get your 30K, you get your another 20K, you get your 25. Depends on how the fluctuation is and that kind of a thing. And don't forget one thing, by rule, this rate, I know there's a question that is lingering in your head right now. How much will I know if they had 100% occupancy and whatever? This rate, they have what people, they have the regulators, they have the project managers, they have everything. And by the way, if you would like to know more information about REITs on how to invest, I have already booklet, and in that booklet has all the information. Who are the regulators? Who are the managers, project managers? Who are the customs? Who stores them? Who makes sure that they regulate? Who does an inspection out there? How does it go about it? Everything. Types of rates. We have the D rates. We have the I rates. Some of the examples of the companies that you can be able to join in. How do you join online? All those kind of things. You can get it in my booklet. You can always pick my number from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call, or you can text me on WhatsApp. You can get that copy, goes for only 280 Kenyan shillings, and you get all the information. But anyway, let's continue now. Here we are. We've seen now how you can be able to make money as a rental income out of you investing in these specific areas. Now, there is another thing that you actually stand to gain again, okay? Another area that you stand to gain is, let's say this structure here actually has gained in terms of the value. There is something called value addition, because what we know one thing, hey, guess what? The value of that structure does not remain constant. It actually increases because it's an asset. Let's say we valued it at, maybe when we were constructing it, it's valued at 100M. And now after some time, the value now becomes maybe, let's say, to 130 million. Therefore, it means your value of shares has actually increased as well. All right, so your value of shares can actually increase on the basis of the demand, or it can also increase on the basis of the value addition. In this case regard, it means now out of this 130,000, or rather 130 million that has actually increased, there is a realization of 30 million increment. Therefore, it means even your shares that you own, remember the shares initially were 100 units, or let's say 100, let's call it 100 Kenyan shillings per share. At this particular point now, it happens now, a share can actually increase all the way to 130 Kenyan shillings per share, depends with that increment. The increment of shares or price per share is realized by the increment in the price of that given structure that is out there. So you see, you're gaining in two ways. You're gaining on the capital gain. This is what we call the capital gain. And again, remember one thing, you can actually, you still retain what we call the liquidity. See, one thing that according to the law, these shares, you can actually liquidate them, meaning you can be able to sell them and get back your 5,000. And of course, you've been eating your profit, or the dividends, you may call it so. So the point is this, you can liquidate all the units that you have. And perhaps, let's say you were to decide to go ahead and sell these shares, you can sell it at 130 shillings. Therefore, obviously, you're going to get more money that you actually invested before. And also bearing in mind that you have been in that business. Let's say you put that money in for only just 1 year. You get your dividends 2 times, and then you resell your shares. Then you're good to go. You can get off the hook and maybe go buy your own properties. Maybe you're looking forward to buy a piece of land somewhere, instead of having that cash lying idle somewhere. So this is a way of actually getting into the actual real estate. When I say actually, I mean like the physical real estate out there, using this door of investment. Or you can actually decide to go and own these shares in terms of this company that invests in these areas. And that way, you can actually become a landlord using a quite of an affordable amount of money. I hope I made sense on this video. Because what I said, I'm going to try the best that I can to come here and share information on how or where you can be able to invest without even having, sort of struggling and something of sort. Anyway, guys, guess what? That marks the end of my video, but not the end of me posting a video each and every time. So if you do want to miss my good videos, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and comment down below to me if you got something. And if you did, I'm so delighted. I'm going to say goodbye and see you in the next one.